The Eagles' first-round pick last Thursday. Do you like the selection? Alabama's Jihaad Campbell. And will the Eagles use him as a traditional off-ball linebacker or an edge rusher?
Both. Both, I would expect. I mean, I haven't talked to Vic Fangio about it, but we saw him play both at Alabama, and I would expect he'll play both here. Is very good at both, and I think his versatility is an asset. Thought it was a great pick. I was very surprised to see him available at that point. I didn't think there was any way he would fall to the bottom of the first round. I thought he was too good a player for that. And I wasn't even really projecting him as an Eagles pick because I thought he'd be going way before the Eagles would be in a position to draft him. But it just kept falling and falling and falling, and then all of a sudden there he was. And, once he got 28, 29, I started thinking he's the guy. And that's why I think Howie Roseman, people thought, why in the world would you give something up to move up one spot? I think his feeling was not necessarily the Chiefs were going to take him, but somebody else would jump in there to take him.
Right.
And when he was that close, I think Howie thought, let's trade up. Let's give him the extra 5 and move up the one spot. Did the same thing last year with Jalen Carter. When they got close to Carter, they moved up one more spot to make sure nobody beat them to the punch. And so you come away with a guy who's a really, really good player. I mean, the only reason he fell, I think, was the shoulder injury, was the torn labrum, which they had surgery for in March. So I guess there's some question about, is he going to be ready for training camp? I don't have any doubts that he'll be ready for the season, but will he be ready to have a full training camp to get ready to start the season? But I mean, other than that, I mean, who didn't see Alabama? I mean, they were on TV all the time. Right. And anybody that saw him play knows the kind of player he is. I mean, he's really, really good player who has, he can play the edge. He can play off ball. He can play the other side. He can, he's going to play. I mean, he's capable of being here what Micah Parsons is in Dallas. I mean, when Parsons came out of Penn State, he was a guy that everybody asked the same question: where are you going to put him? And the fact is, you put him everywhere, and he makes plays. And that's what I think Jihaad Campbell offers to the Eagles.
Ray, with the Kobe Dean injury, working on coming back, do you see Campbell being able to step in and be a day one starter for this team, or is he going to have to feel his way in? Is he that talented?
Oh, I think he's certainly that talented. I think if he has, assuming that he doesn't have any setbacks physically, and he gets his work in training camp and the preseason, that he will be on the field to start week 1. I mean, he's too good a player and he's too talented on the bench. And the fact is, the Eagles right now have some holes on their defense. And I kind of don't think Nakobe Dean's going to be back to start the season. I'd be surprised if he was. So that's another spot. In addition to losing Sweat and Brandon Graham and Williams, you probably aren't going to have Dean to start the year. So that's 4 starters. That's 4 spots you're going to have to fill. And Jihaad Campbell's ready to play. He'll play.
Ray, I want to ask you about the Birds' fourth round pick, defensive tackle Ty Robinson. Brian Baldwin on WIP yesterday said Ty Robinson may end up being better than Milton Williams. What's your take on this 6'5", 288-pound Robinson?
I don't know. It's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to go there. I mean, the kid hasn't even set foot on an NFL field. Look, I love Baldy, and I think Baldy knows this stuff really well. But I'm not going to start comparing him to a guy that just helped you win a Super Bowl right now before he ever takes a snap. But he is very good, and to get him with the 111th pick, I thought was very surprising. He is a pure inside player, although he has shown a lot of versatility. If you saw Nebraska play, I mean, they used him as a 3 technique. They used him at 4. He even played some nose. He can play a lot of different roles inside. And, Milton Williams is a guy that when he first came out of Louisiana Tech, I don't think a whole lot of people knew much about him. I give the Eagles credit for picking him as high as they did. And he really developed. And by the second half of last year, he was really coming on. and you saw how well he played in the postseason and particularly in the Super Bowl. So you lose him, and that's a significant loss, but you still have Jalen Carter. You still have Jordan Davis. Moro Ojomo, who played a lot late last year and I thought played really well.
Yeah.
He's back. And, you put Robinson in that mix, you've got 4 young, really talented guys at the defensive tackle rotation who can play really well for you. The thing I like about Robinson is he is really strong. He can play all those different spots, as I said. He can hold the point against a double team, which is important. But for a guy who's big and strong and can play the run, he also shows the ability to rush the passer. Jordan Davis is not a great pass rusher, but you didn't really expect him to be. This guy has shown in college the ability to win quick off the ball and get pressure on the quarterback. So, yeah, I think he was a really good pick, and I think he was an exceptionally good pick in the 4th round.
Hey, Ray, jump back up to number 2, Andrew Mukuba, as a safety. 2 things. I guess the first highlight they showed was him knocking somebody's head off that everybody said, well, that's Brian Dawkins. Well, let's not go there so fast. But do you like Makuba, and does he have the ability to start early for this club? I
think so. I certainly wouldn't compare him to Dawkins. He's a very different kind of player. But I'll tell you who he is like. He's like Gardner Johnson. If you like Gardner Johnson, and there was reason to like him, this kid is that kind of player in the sense that he's not exceptionally physical, certainly not in a Dawkins way, but he's got a real nose for the football. He's around the ball all the time, opportunistic, and get you takeaways. He had 5 interceptions last year. The only thing that worries me about him a little bit is his frame. He's I'm trying to think what's the best word. He's slender, and I wonder coming up here playing in the NFL against these bigger receivers and bigger blockers, if it's going to be hard for him to stay on the field. He didn't have a big injury history at Texas, so maybe he's that durable, but he's I think one of the things they're probably going to try to do with him with the strength and conditioning guys is they're probably going to try and fill him out a little bit and get some more muscle on him to make sure that he can play. But he's really fast. He's like a 4.47 guy, that's real good speed for a safety. And more than that, to me, he looks very instinctive. He gets a really good jump on the ball. He kind of has a good sense for where the ball's going. Again, a lot like Gardner Johnson. And so, I thought that he was I was a little bit surprised when I saw his draft grade because people had him projected as a 4th round pick. And so when the Eagles took him in the 2nd round, I saw some people saying that the Eagles reached for this guy. No, he's not a reach. I had him as a 2nd round pick myself, and I thought he went just about where I thought he would go in the mid-60s. And, the Eagles have to find somebody to replace Gardner Johnson, and I think they got a guy here who has a lot of the same traits.
Ray, as I put up the entire Eagles draft picks, anybody else stand out to you on there? Anybody you either thought, wow, that's a great pick, or they should not have taken this guy?
No, I didn't have a feeling, oh no, they shouldn't have taken this guy. I thought they were all really solid picks. I think if you just wanted to lump the 3 offensive linemen together, Kendall, Hinton, and Williams, are all guys who I think can come in here. They all look very fundamentally sound. They look really well coached. Kendall looks like a kid that's played a ton of football. Obviously, you're not going to have to ask him to play a lot right away because Juergens is pretty well established at center. But this kid's got some versatility. He's 6'4", 310 pounds, which is really good size. And if they needed him to learn the guard position, he could play there too. And Hinton and Williams are both listed as tackles. But I've seen Williams play inside, and the Eagles right now do have a hole at right guard. They're going to have to find somebody to take Beckton's spot, and I guess Steen will get a shot at it. Green, the kid that they acquired in trade, he'll get a shot at it. Trevor Keegan, who they drafted last year, will probably get a shot at it. But don't be surprised if Williams isn't in that conversation once he gets to training camp because The one thing I saw of him at Texas last year is, man, he is a powerful run blocker and has good feet and mobility for a big man. And the Eagles use their guards on a lot of that inside zone stuff where the guards have to pull and lead. And your guards have to be fairly mobile. And Williams has shown some of that. Now, I don't know as a rookie if he's going to be ready to beat out some guys who have been in your system for some time, which these guys have. But I know Jeff Stoutland well enough to know that whatever these guys have, he's going to get the most out of them. And I think those three guys, I don't know how much they're going to play right away, but I think they all, to me, look like really good guys to develop over time because, at some point you're going to have to replace Lane Johnson. You're going to, you hate to say it, but those guys are all going to have to be replaced at some point. And with these guys coming in and working under Jeff Stoutland, I think whenever that time for transition comes, that these guys could be the guys that can fill that breach.
Hey, Ray, we got to talk about the sixth pick, number 181, quarterback Kyle McCord. Local kid, St. Joe Prep. Do you like that pick? I think he got railroaded out of Ohio State. Probably won a national championship with him as well, but he put up great numbers throughout his college career. Is he a good pick there for the Eagles? Is he a 3 guy for him?
Could be. They've got obviously he's not going to threaten Jalen. He's not going to threaten the Super Bowl MVP.
No. Right.
But he can play in the NFL. I believe that. Yeah. The fact that he's a local kid, South Jersey, St. Joe Prep. That makes for a nice story. But he has that kind of ability. He's got that size. He's got a big arm. But he throws a really nice ball. He has really nice touch. He can throw it. He can fit it into tight spots. But he also has a real nice touch on the ball. He can just sort of loft it over a defender and drop it in a receiver's hands. He did that a lot at Syracuse. And boy, they threw the ball a ton at Syracuse. He had almost 600 attempts last year. Yeah. So hopefully he's been able to rest that arm in the offseason because it got a lot of work last year. But he was I thought he might go a little higher. I was a little surprised to see him in the 6th round, but good pick for the Eagles. You've got Hurts. You've got McKee, who I think has shown them a lot when he's had the opportunity to play. He's really good at camp, really good in the preseason, and when he had the chance to play the final game against the Giants, not that it meant anything, but I thought he certainly looked like he belonged. So I think that's why they felt comfortable trading Pickett, that they felt comfortable with this kid as their number 2. And now, that they brought in Dorian Robinson to be in the mix, but I think McCord is going to be here. I think he's going to play a ton in the preseason. I think he's going to play well. And when September rolls around, I don't know how they're going to shake it out or however it's going to be there, but I think McCord is going to be on the roster, maybe the practice squad, maybe your number 3 guy. But I think that's if I had a pick right now, that's kind of where I see his future. I think he'll be here, and I think that there'll be and I think if he gets his opportunity somewhere along the line to play, I think he's capable of playing pretty good.
Ray, as we speak here on April 30th, Dallas Goedert is still an Eagle. Sure sounds like he won't be, though, going forward. The Eagles passed on drafting Mason Taylor, whom our buddy Mark Eckel liked a lot for the Birds. They passed on Bowling Green's Harold Fannin, who was one of your sleeper picks. I heard you say last week. He went to the Browns. Is it possible the Eagles and Goedert will work something out and he'll stick around or not?
I thought that to me is what I took away from the draft. If they were really as committed to moving on from Goedert as everyone seems to think, they probably would have drafted a tight end, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And they had their opportunity to do that. Fannin was a guy who didn't go till the 3rd round. And the Eagles would have been in position to move up to get him if they wanted to. And I think Fannon's really good. I know nobody pays much attention to Bowling Green football, but I think he's a big time talent. And I don't know how many people saw the Bowling Green Penn State game last year, but he outplayed Warren in that game. And Warren was a 1st round pick. This guy's legit. 1,500 yards this year. And I know we're going to say about the level of competition. It doesn't matter. I mean, they played some big schools, and he played big every week. So I think he's a guy that I think can come in and is going to play in the NFL. He has to be in the right system. I mean, he's not a guy who is now or probably will develop into a big-time blocker. I mean, but he is in that mold of the flex tight end who's more of a receiver than a blocker, but a guy who I think can be a real playmaker in the passing game. I did like him a lot. Yeah. He was one of my sleepers, and he went about where I thought. I would have thought third round, that's where he went. But the fact is there were some tight ends in the draft, and the Eagles didn't seem inclined to take a tight end. And I don't know if this is the point that they're making, but I sort of felt like, okay, maybe this is an indication that maybe Dallas Goedert's going to be here, you know, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You know, I was not one of the people that was, you know, rushing him out the door. You know, I think he's been a really good player for this team. I know that he's missed some time. I know he's had injuries, which people get a little unhappy about. But all I know is in the postseason, you know, the run to glory, the run to the parade, this team's leading receiver was Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
It wasn't Brown and it wasn't Smith. In the postseason, Dallas Goedert was your leading receiver. So, and in addition to being a guy that blocked his butt off. So I'm not all that ready to ship him off for a 5th round draft choice. If it means keeping him for last year of his contract, okay. Better still, if you could work out some kind of like a 1 or 2 year extension to keep him here at a reasonable price, I'd rather do that too. Before the draft, I kind of didn't think that was likely, but the fact that the Eagles went through and picked 10 players and none of them was a tight end suggests to me that, you know, at least now that's sort of in the conversation. And look, I hope that Dallas Goedert is here in week 1. I really do, because I think this is a better team with him on the field.
Ray, I need a clarification from you. I've got to be honest and say I've never heard this or never realized it till this year, or last week actually, when they said that Jahan Dotson rookie contract is not going to be extended. Today they announced Jordan Davis contract would be extended. I didn't know they did that. And does that mean that Jahan Dotson is basically playing as a lame duck? How does that work?
I think it kind of does. I think that's kind of what it says to me. Yeah. I mean, they would have had the opportunity to extend if they had chosen to. And the fact that they didn't is kind of significant. I mean, some of this
is it normal to announce that like that though?
No.
Okay.
No. But I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't read a whole lot into it. Yeah, I actually was a little bit surprised. I mean, when they got Dotson, I mean, he obviously projected as your number 3. But I thought he would be a contributor at 3. I thought, you know, a 1st round draft pick as your number 3 receiver. That's pretty good. And the fact is, over the course of the season, you know, and it's not his fault. He didn't play poorly. They just didn't seem to incorporate him in the offense. Mm-hmm. And are they disenchanted? Are they disappointed? I don't know. But they didn't seem to make a move with him, but they did with Davis. You know, I don't know how to interpret that. But you know, it may mean a lot or it may mean nothing. I really don't know.
Yeah, I thought when they picked Robinson that meant kind of the end for Davis. You know, that they wouldn't re-up him when they drafted Robinson, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that you could possibly keep 4 guys at that position. I know this is a team that really loads up at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I mean, that's kind of how they're built. And it would not shock me to see them keep all those guys and use them in multiple ways. I mean, Carter is obviously your key guy. And Ajomo, while he was promising last year, it's a fairly small sampling. They've got a significant investment in Davis. And Robinson is a player with a lot of promise. I mean, right now, it's conceivable you could keep all 4 of those guys. You really could.
Hey, Ray, we talked a lot about the draft. A couple other things we got to get to before we let you go. The Eagles having won another Super Bowl champion, you know, maybe I just dreamt this, or is it for real, that there's going to be another update of the Eagles encyclopedia?
True. True. Yeah, I mean, you kind of had to do it, when they won another Super Bowl, it sort of cried out for an update of the book. The one that you just held up, that was edition number 3, and we called it Champions Edition for obvious reasons. And I talked to the guys at Temple University Press, who were the publishers, at mid-season last year, and I said, "Hey guys, we might want to start thinking about possibly revising the book, rewriting the book yet again, because I said I think there's a chance this team could go all the way."
And look what I found.
And there it is. That's the book. That's the book that will be coming out in the fall, and it's called Eagles Encyclopedia Champions 2, and that is the Eagles' whole history from day 1 all the way up through Super Bowl 59. So it was probably the toughest writing assignment I ever had, in the sense that I had all the copy had to be in by March the 7th. That was my deadline. So I had 4 weeks to turn around a 512-page book. So needless to say, I didn't leave my office very much. But I made deadline. Everything was in. And now everything is in the hands of the printers. And so I'll be proofreading it over the off season, and hopefully come the fall, there will be a new Eagles Encyclopedia on the bookshelves for everyone to rush out and buy, and it will make a splendid Christmas present.
And Ray, you've got a busy fall. I know Bill wants to ask you about some of the stuff you've got going on in the fall.
Yeah, Ray, I think when we had you last time, we talked about a show that you were going to do with Glenn and Joe Conklin, I want to say in October in Westchester. Do I have that right? Does that still go?
That is correct. We are doing our show, which is called The Greatest Moments in Philadelphia Sports History. We've done it a couple of times. We did it 3 times last year, and we just did it a couple weeks ago up at the Colonial Theater in Phoenixville, which is a great old theater. It's where they play, where the movie The Blob plays. They do an annual Blobathon where everybody runs in and they run out in the street screaming. It's that theater, great theater. And we did the show there a couple weeks ago, and people loved it. Obviously, you're coming off the Super Bowl. Everybody's still in a Super Bowl high. So we had a great night. And then come October the 15th, we're going to do it again at the Uptown Performing Arts Center in Westchester. And it's the ultimate Philadelphia sports highlight show. It's me, it's Glenn, and it's Joe. And we do our countdown of what we consider to be the top 10 moments in Philadelphia sports history, along with a few honorable mentions thrown in. Glenn and I do the background, we do the history, we do the stats, and Joe brings the comedy and the voices. And it's a real fun night. So if folks want to come out, we'll be there October 15th, the Uptown Theater in Westchester.
Count me in.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to be there too, Ray.
And Ray, you got something else going on this fall also.
Yeah, even more than that. Tommy and me is coming back. Tommy and me is coming back to we did the show at People's Light Theater in Malvern in January. And it went so well, they sold out the whole run, extended it by a week, and we still sold the whole thing out. And they decided they wanted to bring it back. So we're going to bring Tommy and me back to People's Light in Malvern in October the 7th through the 19th. So if folks have not seen Tommy and me, or if you have seen it, but you want to see it again, you'll have your opportunity at People's Light. And this time they're moving us into the big theater on the campus. Last time when we were there in January, we were in their small theater, the Steinbright Theater. And this time they moved us into the big theater. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then right before that, my new play that I just wrote over the last year will be coming to the Delaware Theater Company. It's called Spinner. And that will open September 17th and run through October the 5th. So I will literally have those 2 plays running almost back to back. And Spinner is not a football. It's a true story, but it's not a football story. This one is about ice hockey. So it's a little bit different and very different in tone. It's a lot. All I can say is it's a lot different than Tommy and me. Okay, but I've got those two plays running back to back, right around the same time that the book's coming out. So, Bill, to your point, it's going to be a very busy fall. Yes.
Yeah. How's retirement, right?
Don't let my wife hear you say that. We were having that very discussion while we were sitting in traffic coming back here tonight.
I'm sure you were.
Hey, Ray, one final question I have for you on the Eagles, since you're talking about your updating your book and all. We haven't talked to you since the Super Bowl. How good was this Eagles team? This is the best Eagles team that they've had last year?
Yes, the best.
There you go.
And I, as somebody who's written the history of this team multiple times, I feel confident in saying that. Up until now, I've always said that I thought that the 49 team was the greatest team in Eagles history. That was the team that had Van Buren. Bednarik was a rookie. They had 4 Hall of Famers. They went 11-1. Won the championship by shutout for the second year in a row. Clearly the dominant team in pro football at that time. I always pointed to that as the greatest team in Eagles history. This team, I think, was better. When you look at 10-game winning streak, club record, 14 wins, and the way they just rolled through the postseason. I mean, the point differential was just ridiculous. They scored 55 points in the conference championship game.
Yeah.
And then in the Super Bowl against a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion. That was your opponent. With the 2-time champs going for 3 in a row, you dropped 40 on them, and you could have probably scored 50.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was domination with a capital D. And so, yeah, I mean, I got to say, this was the best team in Eagles history, and that Super Bowl is the best game this franchise ever played. So one thing I've told a lot of people is enjoy this.
Yeah.
Enjoy this. Don't start, and I'm already hearing it. People are picking it apart. Look, it's almost like they're looking for things to criticize. Enjoy it, okay? I mean, for the first time, I think probably in any of our lives, you can actually sit back and say, you know what? The Eagles are the best team in football. They're the best. They're the standard now. Everybody's chasing them, And when they won the Super Bowl in Super Bowl 52, they won the championship that year. Were they the best team in the league? Probably not. But they took advantage of the opportunity and they won, and good for them. But this team was the best team by the end of the year. There was no question about that. I mean, anybody that watched that championship game knows that they were the best team in the league. And all the other years when the Eagles won it, I mean, 1960, God, I loved that team. And then Tommy McDonald, I loved that team. But they were underdogs. The Vermeil team, they were underdogs. All these other teams that have kind of gotten to the championship game always came in as underdogs. That's not the case anymore. Right now, the Eagles are the best team in football. And you know what? The way they're built, they might be there for a while. So I'm telling people, just relax and enjoy the moment, okay? Because those of us that are old enough to remember Franklin Field, right. Norm Snead, and Joe Kuharich. We waited a lifetime for the opportunity to be able to sit back and look at the rest of the NFL and say, hey, you're chasing us. We're the top dog. Well, that's finally true. So just lighten up and enjoy it. That'd be my message to the fans.
Ray, this was awesome. We'll let you run and find 15, 20 minutes for us the first week of September before your fall gets crazy, because we'll preview the 2025 Eagles season.
I look forward to it, fellas. I look forward to it. Always hanging out with you guys. Again, I apologize for being a little late, but I promise I will be here ready to go in September.
Worth the wait. Believe us. Thanks, Ray.
We appreciate you.
Take care, fellas.